From the outside, Melissa Gilbert looked like she had it all. A successful child actress, a household name, and the star of one of the most loved shows on American television. But behind her sweet smile and her innocent role as Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, was a life filled with secrets, heartbreak, and painful truths that most fans never saw. Melissa's real story is one of survival, strength, and finding peace after years of personal chaos. Her childhood wasn't what it seemed, and her rise to fame came with a heavy emotional cost that would follow her into adulthood. Melissa was born on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles. But just one day after entering the world, her biological parents gave her up. Her mother, Kathy Wood, and her father, David Darlington, had too many children already and were struggling emotionally and financially. Melissa never even spent a full night with them. She was the seventh child in a complex family, and instead of staying with her birth parents, she was adopted by actor and comedian Paul Gilbert and his wife Barbara Crane, a dancer and actress. While her new parents gave her love and a stable home, that early separation left a wound that would never fully heal. Growing up, Melissa felt like she was living in someone else's story. In her memoir, she later wrote that her life felt like an illusion, shaped more by what was lost than what was gained. Her adoptive father, Paul, became her whole world. He was warm, funny, and always there for her. But when she was just 11, her world fell apart again. Melissa was told that Paul had died from a stroke. That lie stood for over 30 years. The truth, she found out at age 44, was much more painful. Paul had taken his own life after suffering from unbearable pain caused by injuries he got during his time as a fighter pilot in World War II. Learning this decades later broke her all over again. She hired a private investigator to get the answers she couldn't stop thinking about. Why had the man who rescued her from abandonment suddenly left her behind? The people around Melissa weren't just regular folks. Her family was soaked in Hollywood culture. Her adoptive mother's father, Harry Crane, helped create classic shows like The Honeymooners and the Dean Martin Celebrity Roasts. Melissa's childhood was filled with scripts, sets, and red carpets. In 1967, Paul and Barbara adopted a son, Jonathan Gilbert, who would later act alongside Melissa in Little House. After Paul and Barbara divorced, Barbara had another daughter, Sarah, with her next husband. All three children became television stars, but fame wasn't as glamorous as it looked. Melissa started acting early. At just 5 years old, she was already doing commercials, including one for Alpo dog food with Lorne Green. Her charm was impossible to ignore. But her life changed forever when she auditioned for the role of Laura Ingalls at just 9 years old. Hundreds of girls wanted the part. But during her audition with Landon, something clicked. Melissa hadn't even seen Landon's previous work, and maybe that honesty was part of what won him over. He saw something real in her, a girl who didn't pretend, who could carry the emotional heart of a series. That same day, Landon's own daughter told Melissa at school, "My dad picked you." The pilot episode aired in 1973 and pulled in over 17 million viewers. It wasn't just a hit. It was a national sensation. But Melissa had to wait almost a year before it became a full series. From 1974 to 1983, Little House on the Prairie aired across 9 seasons and became a beloved part of American TV history. Her final audition was so emotional that Landon cried watching it. She had to say goodbye to a dog in the scene, and her performance was so genuine, it sealed the deal. She was only 10 when the show began, and by the time it ended, she was 19. Viewers literally watched her grow up on television. The filming schedule was intense. Melissa and the other child actors had to attend school on set, juggling math tests with memorizing lines. Still, the cast bonded in a way that made them feel like a real family. Off camera, Melissa was also proving herself. At 15, she played Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker, a performance that earned her an Emmy nomination. She later portrayed Anne Frank in another major production. These roles showed her emotional depth and range far beyond her years. But her biggest challenge wasn't acting. It was separating herself from Laura Ingalls. Over the years, the character became part of Melissa's identity. Laura was brave, kind, and strong. Everything Melissa tried to be. But when the cameras stopped rolling, Melissa didn't always feel like the girl America had fallen in love with. Her personal struggles were very real. One of the most controversial parts of the show came when Dean Butler was cast as Almanzo Wilder, Laura's love interest. Melissa was only 15 at the time. Dean was 23. That 8-year age gap caused concern not just for viewers, but for Melissa too. She wasn't ready for romantic scenes, especially with someone so much older. Her first on-screen kiss was also her first real kiss, and it happened in front of the entire crew, plus her mother, who cried watching it. Melissa begged Landon to make changes to the script, but her concerns were dismissed. The audience was divided. Some loved the romance, others were outraged. The mail poured in, with many viewers saying the pairing was inappropriate. Even Dean Butler later admitted the casting would never fly by today's standards. Still, the ratings soared. The Sweet 16 episode became one of the show's highest-rated episodes. But for Melissa, the experience left scars. She had to pretend to be in love before she was emotionally ready. She was a teenager forced to grow up fast on camera, all while the public watched every move. Off-screen, her life was falling apart. She started drinking in her teenage years. By adulthood, she was going through 2 bottles of wine a night. Alcohol became a crutch, a way to numb the pain from childhood trauma, public pressure, and a never-ending identity crisis. She also used cocaine. She was trying to escape the emptiness that fame couldn't fill. Her relationship suffered. Her confidence collapsed. It wasn't until her young son begged her to stop drinking that Melissa finally listened. She joined Alcoholics Anonymous and began a long and difficult road to recovery. She found healing in the shared stories of others who had also hit rock bottom. But addiction wasn't her only battle. In the early 1990s, she auditioned for a film directed by Oliver Stone. The role was in The Doors, and the experience left her broken. Melissa said Stone handed her a humiliating scene as payback for things she'd said about him. Alone in a room with Stone and another actor, she was forced to act out something that left her in tears. She believed it was done to humiliate her. Stone denied it, but the pain it caused Melissa stayed with her. Her love life was just as chaotic. She married actor Bo Brinkman after a fast romance, but it quickly turned toxic. He drank heavily, was emotionally abusive, and cheated on her multiple times. The worst betrayal came shortly after Melissa gave birth to their son Dakota. She was still recovering from a C-section when she found Brinkman sleeping with another woman, someone he had hired, on their couch. Melissa was crushed. Brinkman blamed her for not being intimate enough after surgery. The marriage ended, but the damage was done. Melissa Gilbert's life was never as perfect as it looked on TV. Her childhood was marked by abandonment, hidden truths, and emotional trauma. Her fame brought millions of fans but also crushed her under impossible expectations. She was asked to smile when she wanted to cry, to perform when she was in pain, and to carry a national treasure of a show on her small shoulders. The romantic storylines on Little House are still loved today, but they came with a real cost for a young girl who wasn't ready for the adult world being forced on her. Through it all, Melissa never gave up. She spoke out. She wrote a brutally honest memoir where she shared everything: her addiction, her heartbreak, her regrets. Instead of hiding, she chose to heal in the open. Her voice became a powerful reminder of what child actors often go through behind the scenes. Her story has helped bring attention to the emotional risks young performers face, and why better protections are needed in the industry. Today, Melissa is known not just for her role as Laura Ingalls, but as a survivor and a truth-teller. She's shown that no matter how far someone falls, there's always a way back. Her story is filled with loss, but also strength. With every page of her memoir, every interview, and every honest word, she's building a legacy not just based on television fame, but on courage, resilience, and self-respect. Melissa Gilbert's life wasn't a fairy tale. It was raw, complicated, and often painful. But in that pain, she found her strength. She's proof that what happens behind the scenes matters just as much, if not more, than what the world sees on screen. If you found Melissa's story as powerful as we did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more untold stories, and let us know in the comments what surprised you the most. We'll see you in the next one.